Welcome back to another video. It has been 1 year already since I came back to reading fantasy books. So this is the perfect time to go over all of my 5-star reads that I had in this year. One of the first series that I've read once I came back to reading was the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. And I am happy to announce that every single book in this series was a 5-star read for me. The first book, Assassin's Apprentice, sets up the rest of the trilogy perfectly, and also the rest of the Realm of the Elderlings, which is a 16-book series in total. This book does an amazing job balancing plot, world building, and especially the character development, which is, in my opinion, Robin Hobb's trademark. The second book, Royal Assassin, then perfectly capitalizes on this and delivers an impactful and honestly thrilling and immersive story. I have never read a book series like this before, so both Assassin's Apprentice as a first book in a trilogy and Royal Assassin as a second book, which are usually like the weaker ones in the series, were 5 stars. In the end, she manages to actually pull all the things together and tie up all the loose ends in Assassin's Quest, which is the third book in the trilogy, which was also a 5-star read for me because all the way through I was just so enamored with the characters, with Fitz, with the world, with the magic, and with everything that there is to come. I am still neck deep into the Realm of the Elderlings currently, and I cannot wait to continue these books. The next book on this list was the second book in a book series that I almost DNF'd. It is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. This is the second book in the Red Rising trilogy. I mean, there's a trilogy and then there are 4 more books. It's complicated, okay? But the first book was really not what I expected, and it didn't draw me in completely. I had some issues with the first book, but the second book, Golden Sun, definitely catched me, definitely enamored me, and definitely showed me which scope and scale the story by Pierce Brown really wants to take, and this totally blew me away. An honorable mention to the third book in the series, Morningstar, which is also a very strong book. It was a very strong contender for 5-star books for me as well, but it didn't quite hit me the same way as Golden Star did. Of course, none of these fantasy lists would be complete without mentioning Brandon Sanderson. I actually have somewhat of a controversial take in what are my 5-star books in the Cosmere. The first book that I want to mention here is Hero of Ages. Hero of Ages is the third book in the first Mistborn era trilogy, and this book was just so good. It was such a trip. Every single book in the Mistborn era 1 series is just upping the scales. Brandon Sanderson is just constantly escalating the story, the scope, the impact, the meaning in these books, right up until the point where people go like, wait a minute, this is not a story about a planet. This is a story about a universe. And the Hero of Ages actually tied up all of the loose ends, had a very dramatic and impactful, also very emotional ending. And it was just the perfect combination of the first 2 books for me personally. The first book was my second favorite book, and I had some issues with the second book. The Well of Ascension was just too much focused on politics, which is just not my vibe in general. But the third book, Hero of Ages, was such a great read. Highly recommend. To finish this list of the last 5-star books that I had actually in this 1 year of coming back to reading was The Way of Kings. This was actually a reread, so I say it counts, but you know, you can disagree with me in the comments. This is my North Star in terms of what a 5-star book and what a book and a fantasy book should be to me. This and Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice are my guiding lights in how I judge books and what I want to feel while reading a book. You may disagree with this, but these 2 books just show me the essence of what I love about fantasy. Honestly, in the Cosmere, these are the only 2 books that I actually rated 5 stars for different reasons, but they had a similar emotional impact on me, which is why they are here. I honestly cannot wait to do this list next year again and see where I stand and what I think about the books. Would I rate them differently? It's just so interesting to go back, because the more you read, the more you expose yourself to stories, the more reflective you are about the stories that you've already read. You see this all the time with people loving stories that they read as children and teens and then coming back to them as adults. I'm like, well, I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia here, but it's not that great of a book. So I cannot wait to do this next year again. Let me know, what are your 5-star reads of last year? And I see you in the next video.